Alright, yeah, and welcome back to some more Magic Duels with our Jeskai Thopters deck. So, made a few changes before we get into the games. So, I've cut the Whirl of Virtuosos because they weren't really doing a great deal. They were just kind of making a singular Thopter and using up the energy that Harness Lightning could be using. So, I kind of cut them out. And instead, we have added in 2 Thunderclap Wyverns, so 2 white and a blue for a 2/3 flyer with Flash, which essentially means we can cast it at any time. And it gives other creatures you control that have flying +1/+1. Yet again, another Lord for the Thopters. So we've essentially turned this into the Merfolk of Thopters, because we've got 3 different Lords that are all going to be pumping up our Thopter tokens, which is going to be pretty sweet. And to counteract the extra drop in there, because the Virtuosos were a 3-drop and the Wyverns are a 4-drop, I've actually cut out the Ether Grid, because I don't think he's actually going to come into that handy, to be honest. And we've added in an extra land, more specifically an extra Glacial Fortress. So we still have the blue sources that we need, but we're also getting an extra white source to stop the Wyvern from never coming into play. So, anyway guys, I will see you in the games. Okay, we're on the draw. We have a single colourless land. If it was a coloured land, I might consider it, because we have a fair few 2-drops, but we don't, so I won't. And 3 mana, and a lot of 4-drops, but the best 4-drops. Yeah, we're keeping this. We have a Selfless Spirit along the way as well to get a little bit of pressure on. So, let's see what we can do. And we draw the land that we needed. Wonderful. Alright, I think I'll just go with an island here. Hold off a little bit of information from the Glacial Fortress. Our opponent's red-white and rank 36 called Football Fiend 5. Is that American or UK football, I wonder? Relic Seeker. Ooh, is this an equipment deck? That'd be interesting. Since mine didn't work out very well in the end, it was a bit meh. So let's go Selfless Spirit here. Threaten to block his Relic Seeker. Might actually block it, I don't know. I'm not sure whether I want him to have any equipment. Though he does have to put it in his hand and actually cast it, so he's going to be taking out a turn to do that. And there's a cloak that gives trample. That's kind of the only thing I'm worried about, because everything else can be blocked by a 1/1 Thopter. So I think I'll just let him have this. As long as he doesn't get an equipment that gives trample, or put it on trampling creatures, we're absolutely fine. Let's find out what he gets. Our survey says Strider Harness, +1/+1 and haste. That is absolutely fine. Please take a turn out to cast that. So he's got up to 3 mana, and he's going with a Chandra Fire of Kaladesh instead. That's a problem. If we can't stop that, he might be able to flip it. Well, we're going to go Ether Hub. Let's not give away that we're running any red right now. And Chief is pretty good, because what Chief will do is essentially, if he tries to remove my Selfless Spirit or my Chief, then I sack Selfless Spirit, give it indestructible, and he won't be able to attack in with his Chandra. Because if he attacks in, he gets 2 of the 3 damage he needs. Then he only has to cast 1 red spell in order to untap and flip his Planeswalker. So I think we're actually going to go Chief here. We also don't need the land. We have our double blue for any of our stuff. So having an artifact in play for a Thopter Spy Network, for example, is pretty sweet. So we'll do that, and we will pass the turn back. No need to get any damage in just yet. If I attacked him with the Selfless Spirit, then he'd be more inclined to attack that, and then... Not that it really matters, but I'd have to sack my Spirit. Whereas this might just encourage him to not attack altogether, which is also an option that I'm happy for him to come to the conclusion about. But, it depends what he's doing. Just getting in with the Relic Seeker. That is exactly what I wanted to see. Right, you can do that. He may have enough spells in hand, perhaps. He only has to... Oh no, he's just going for the Strider Harness. Okay. That is a turn that I agree with. That Strider Harness is 3 converted mana cost though. So we need at all times a 3 converted mana cost artifact for Padim to work. Ew. But what we can do is we can go Thopter Spy Network. Having the Chief on the battlefield means that we're going to be able to get a Thopter token next turn. Even if he tries to remove the Chief, we can sack the Spirit and get in that way. I'm actually going to attack him with the Selfless Spirit here, because I can still sack the Spirit to block the Chandra. It's just going to ping us for 1. Okay, down to 14. Got to keep in mind now that he can pay an extra 1 on top of any of his creatures to give them haste and an extra power and toughness. But once we've got the Spy Network going and all of our Thopters, it shouldn't really matter what he pushes out, because we'll have enough Thopters to just chump block. And there'll be 2/2s as well, which, in the case of Chandra over here, is enough to kill her. Ah, dear. So, 6 cards in hand. 3 mana. He hasn't played his land this turn, so he should probably do that. That'll help him with his decisions. I'm expecting we'll see the 2/2 double striking creature for 3 mana. Erosis Champion. Looks like he's equipping up his Strider Harness onto the Chandra. That wouldn't be a bad idea. It would force me into blocking it, so I'd have to get rid of my Selfless Spirit, because then all he has to do is cast a single red spell and he's fine. So let's do that. Hopefully he hasn't got burn here. Yeah, thought that might be the case. Although, what does he have? 3 power, 3 damage in 2 mana. Don't think he does have anything. Titan's Strength doesn't do it. Ah, he's attaching it there. Okay. He has to deal it to players, so he's still only done 1 this turn. He deals 6 to us though, which is ain't great. Goes without saying. And 1 extra damage, down to 7. Oh. Is it not? Can I look at the other side, please, game? Thank you. Oh, it's just 3 or more damage. I thought it had to be done to players. Oh. Oh well. Well, he equips the Strider Harness up. Can't quite kill Chandra here, but we can get her pretty damn close. And still have a blocker down for his Relic Seeker. But he's also probably got another creature he can equip up with his Strider Harness, which will be a problem. I don't think it needs stating. Plus we've got... I kind of want to do this to a player so that I get to draw a card. I'm torn. What's the minus? It's -2 to deal 2 damage to target creature. I think we're going to whirl a rogue here just to make sure that we've got enough power and toughness on the board. I need to get Chandra pretty damn low though, because she's going to kill me all by herself with the extra 2 damage. I think we've lost, but I'm just trying to figure out the best way to not lose too quickly. And I think it all starts with knocking Chandra down a peg. take her down to 3. Essentially means if she minuses to kill a creature, then she goes down to 1 and Thopter Spy Network will generate me a Thopter. Which might be enough if we get the Thopter Engineer. But I think this way we make sure that we definitely have enough blockers to not die. Clifftop Retreat. So he's up to his 4 mana. He can play any 3 mana creature and equip Stripe to harness to it to give it haste. Chandra's dead next turn if he doesn't kill all of our board. So he's probably going to plus his Chandra. +1. Yeah, it is. So Chandra definitely cannot kill enough things on our board to survive. On her own, anyway. Really wouldn't mind an Inventor's Fair as our next draw. Because that's going to allow us to gain 1 life every single turn, and it'll get us out of the burn range I'm kind of worried about. That being said, we have a lot of blockers, and he doesn't have a lot of trample. So it's really just burn that we have to worry about. So I might even just Glimmer of Genius next turn on our main phase before we play a land. Just to try find it. Because then we can just hold back for half a century and just, yeah. That takes us down to 3. Fiery Temper kills us. Exquisite Firecraft kills us. But I'm assuming he hasn't got it, since he's taking his sweet time and he's about to time out, in fact. Go on, time out. Do it. Ah, collective effort. Destroy enchantment. Yeah, so we don't get our Thopters anymore. He only did the 1 because he has to stay untapped, I guess. And he's just going to force a chump block from us. Okay, I'm going to block... If we got draw a Saheeli Rai, then having Whirler Rogue around is pretty good. And... if we block with a Thopter, then we're just... We could double block as well, that's also an option. Just to get this Relic Seeker off the battlefield and lose the pressure. But then we've only got 1 creature down. And I'm going to be Glimmer of Geniusing next turn, which means I won't have the mana to play a 2nd creature. But will I need one? Yeah, let's double block. No, actually, block 2 Thopters. Right, so. There was potential for a blowout there, but I think it just needed to be done, to be honest. Pianola. Okay. Right, so. We're going to Glimmer of Genius. Try find our Inventor's Fair. Westvale Abbey. 3, 4, 5 with Pianola. That's as good as an Inventor's Fair as far as I'm concerned. A 2-turn setup to get Ormondal out. Essentially. Right, we'll block, attack there, attack there. So, short of a hasty creature or a burn spell, hasty creature with trample plus a removal spell or something like that, we should be fine. We might have stabilized, as weird as it is. But yeah, Saheeli Rai, as I mentioned, really good with Whirler Rogue because she's going to be able to -2 in order to make copies of Whirler Rogue, who is also going to be an artifact with haste, so we can start pushing through some damage. And gaining some sweet, sweet tokens. Ah, Thalia. No, Thalia. You're annoying. Yeah, so I'm going to have to... I'm forced to chump block here. So yeah, burn spell there would have been fine and he'd have won. But Unfortunately, we just chump block. Which isn't actually that unfortunate, but... Our Whirler Rogue copy is going to come into play tapped when we minus with Saheeli Rai. But we're going to get some Thopters as well that are also going to come into play untapped. Come into play tapped, sorry. Huh. I think we can Chief to pump up our other Chief of the Foundry. And pump up our Thopter tokens that eventually we'll be using. I just want to create as much of a wide board as possible for the Ormondal. So I think Saheeli Rai is the way to go about that. Plus the Chief of the Foundry maybe. Or even PNLR. PNLR goes the widest, but Chief of the Foundry does the most. So we're going to minus on the Whirler Rogue. It's going to come into play tapped, along with its tokens. But it's going to create a lot of stuff. So the question is, do we want to PNLR, make more Thopters, or Chief of the Foundry to make you a 3-4? Which still can't block Thalia that well. But it ain't that bad nonetheless. I think we'll go with PNLR, I think. Because I'd rather Ormondal use as much of our tokens as possible. No attacks here. Bit afraid of dying. So our Whirler Rogue copy goes away. There's a really clutch Thalia he's got there. Angelic Destiny. Oh no. Oh, you son of a beach. Alright. 8-7 coming over with flying. That sucks. Nothing we could have done about that anyway. So we couldn't have killed it. So, top deck from our opponent. Alright, well, on to the next game. Okay, we're on the play, and we have a lot of turn 3 plays, a couple of turn 4 plays that are pretty decent, and 2 lands. So we need to draw into a land for this hand to be good, but I think we can do that. So we'll play a mountain, and pass the turn. Our opponent is rank 35, called Felipe Roches. Goes with a Drowned Gatagoom. Okay. And an Ether Hub for us. Alright, we are off to the races. I'd like to see another land though, because our hand's fairly stacked, so we just need the mana to be able to play half of it. Which would be lovely, but the Ether Hub provides us that white mana source that the Thunderclap Wyvern very much needs. And we won't be using it for anything else. Wonderful! Right, no more lands. Don't need any more. Stop it. Right, let's go with Thopter Engineer, because it's the one that's going to haste out some power here. So, creates a Thopter, gives all artifacts haste, which means PNLR, when she comes out, she's also going to create a Thopter with haste. So we'll be getting 3 damage in next turn, unless we go for the Padim, which is just absolute gas. Another blue-black... Oh, my god. Alright, well. That's 3 blue-black lands for our opponent. I'm expecting this to be some sort of control deck, or maybe even Reanimator. So, we'll see. Ah, Fleshbag Marauder. We'll get rid of our Thopter token. Right. And Ether Hub. Up to the 4. We no longer have an artifact in play, so Padim is quite useless. So is Thunderclap Wyvern. So we'll go with PNLR. Create ourselves a Thopter token with haste. And get in for 2. The next Fleshbag that comes down, probably get rid of PNLR. It's less damage on our board, but it means that Padim's actually useful. And Drowner Corpse Trawler. So this is zombies, actually. Drunau Corpse Trawler. So it creates a 2/2 black zombie creature. And you can also give zombies Death Touch. Alright, that's not going to matter because we're going to be chump blocking if we're blocking at all. So, 5 mana. Let's see, what do we want to do here? Can you give it self? Yeah, it can give itself Death Touch as well. So Padim's not a great blocker. In fact, none of them are really great blockers, but if we go with Padim, it kind of forces him to use a removal spell on our Thopter token, or at least try to get us to remove it, which I kind of like the idea of. The other alternative is we just draw another card every single turn for the rest of the game, which I'm also fine with. So let's try it out. Should have attacked in there, actually. I forgot I had a Thopter with flying, hexproof, and haste. So we missed out on 1 damage there because I wasn't paying attention. But we get a Screeching Scarb. So it puts 3 cards into your graveyard, I think. Yep. Including a Prized Amalgam as well, which returns from the graveyard to the battlefield when a zombie does as well. So if they can reanimate a creature, then they'll get their Prized Amalgam back as well. Which wouldn't be fantastic. Selfless Spirit is pretty good, though in these colours the only removal is either Mass Bounce or Languish. So actually Selfless Spirit isn't too useful for us here. So I think what we want to do is, first of all, Evolving Wilds, crack it. We've got double red, we've got double blue, we have a white source. So I just think just red doesn't really matter, I don't think. I guess we're just going to go Thunderclap Wyvern here and just get some extra damage in. Yeah, let's do that. So all flying creatures get +1/+1, which is just this Thopter token. The value, 4 mana +1/+1. Compelling Deterrence, going to bounce our Padim and make us discard a card. Well, we're just going to discard Padim because we've got a spare. And pass the turn. Selfless Spirit actually comes in as a 3/2 with our Thunderclap Wyvern, which is why I'm not throwing it away, because zombies don't have any flyers. Although he might be using the Crow of Dark Tidings, something like that, which actually self-mills, which is good for a zombie deck. Geezer and Geralf. That allows him to cast zombie cards from his graveyard, as well as self-milling. So he can cast a Flesh Bag every turn and he'll get a Prized Amalgam back. So we're not in a good state now, officially. Especially if all we're doing is drawing lands. I don't approve. We've got Glacial Fortress and Selfless Spirit. Fortunately for us, we can get over the top with some decent flyers. Unfortunately for us, we're gonna lose a creature every single turn. Thanks to this Geezer and Geralf that we can't remove because we don't have a Harnessed Lightning. Next turn in the air though, we've got 7 damage. So we are close to lethal. In fact, a Whirler Rogue off the top would be pretty good. Is that the one out of his graveyard? No, it is not. Lovely. Well, PNLR's going first here. He's thinking who's he's going to get rid of. Probably another Flesh Bag would be my guess. Yep. And he can cast one from his graveyard as well to make us get rid of something. I don't really know what I want to get rid of, in all honesty. If we get Whirler Rogue, we get 2/2/2, so that's 4 damage. That's 8 in the air next turn. If I end up sacking the Selfless Spirit to his Flesh Bag. Yeah, here it goes. So we've got a tough decision here. I like the hasty shenanigans we've got going. And if we don't Sack Padeem, we draw extra cards. So I think we'll get rid of the Selfless Spirit here. We're getting another Thopter from Pianalar as well. So a Thopter Lord would be great with an extra Thopter token, whereas Selfless Spirit won't get buffed by any of that. So we have the highest converted mana cost. We get a Thopter Spy Network and a Glimmer of Genius. We'll go Glimmer, main phase, see if we can find anything decent. Westvale Abbey. Westvale Abbey's not too bad, actually. And we haven't hit our land drop this turn either. Ooh, and another Thopter Engineer. So, that's another, that's a bit of sack fodder for us as well. Huh. He's empty-handed, so even if he goes all in, we don't die. We're not blocking any of it. Westvale Abbey can flip next turn if he doesn't remove any of our creatures, and that'll kill him. So I guess just try to get as many creatures on the board as possible that he can't block. Which Thopter Engineer is going to do for us. Get in with our flyers. And he's dead next turn. We only have to find 5 damage, so as long as we don't sack our flyers, we're fine. He's got a singular flesh bag to get us to lose a single creature. Okay. 11 damage. It's not lethal, so we'll take it. No chump blocks here because he can give any of them Death Touch, which would kill any of our creatures no matter how we blocked. As you can see, he didn't block in, attack him with the Corpse Trawler for that exact reason. Stitched Mangler. Taps a creature, I think. But that doesn't matter because Westvale Abbey is what's coming after him. And it'll be indestructible as well. So he taps down our Wyvern. His final card, he's not going to show us. Well, we get to draw an extra card off of Padeem. It's a Foundry of the Consoles. Play our Foundry of the Consoles. And what we can do here is we can P and Kieran the La, or we can just Westvale Abbey. What's the safer route if he's got some sort of answer for us? Which I can't think what it might be. It might be a compelling deterrence, actually. So yeah, we want to go as wide as possible here. So, P and Kieran the La makes 2 Thopters. P and the La makes another Thopter. And there's your lethal right there. He's only got a single Stitched Mangler, so attack him with everything. There's no fogs in that colour. Although saying that, there is actually a Hydra Lash that would have meant we dealt no damage and then he'd have got in for lethal, but it didn't matter. That's going to be the game. Alright guys, if you did enjoy the video, then be sure to leave a like. It helps me out a great deal. Stay for the end card to see the deck tech if you are interested. And don't forget to subscribe for more Magic Duels content as well as other stuff. And you can check out the end card for that other stuff. And I will see you next time. Bye bye.